Hello, everybody. Corrie Thorne, spiritual healer, coming in to do my channeled message for this week. It is almost the end of the week, and I'm just getting in. It is a whole lot of other things that are happening in my world and in my work that keeps me from being able to do all the videos that you're used to seeing me do. But I'm working my way back. I'm coming back in, and I'm just realizing that my face looks like it's like a beard. What would that look? What would that video? So got some masculine energy coming in here. Ooh, there's a freaky little shadow on my face, but here we are. Welcome, welcome. So let's get serious. Let's get serious. Let's channel this through and let's see what this week, and we are into the 9th, and I'm recording this on a 9/9. And so we have we have some powerful numbers at play, but in that powerful number, there is also softness. There's a whisper of gentleness that is coming in as I'm channeling through. We are in Virgo season, and from many Virgos that I know that many of them are very soft and gentle and very in touch with all sides of them and who they are. And so we can't say, oh, that's all a masculine energy if it's all big, strong warrior and always that kind of in charge kind of energy. That is not always the case. It's like masculine also has a softer side. Feminine has both sides, and feminine can also be aggressive, but not just masculine. And the reason why is called emotional is called our emotional intelligence. It's that level of being able to stay calm in chaos. And we do have a lot of calm in chaos energy that's around us. Do you let it own you? Do you let it control you? Do you let it, dictate your life? And to know that your world doesn't have to be exact same as the world that is trying to be passed on to you, whether it is family, whether it's programmed, whether it's childhood, that you have the opportunity to be able to be the change that you want to see. And that's the truth. So we're going to start out using my deck of oracle cards, and this is the Everyday Goddess oracle cards. And if you're masculine, if you're male energy, if you're watching this and you're like, I don't want the Everyday Goddess oracle cards, well, they are for masculine and feminine. I am an Aries. So I am the Aries energy. I am a strong sense of being in tap and in tune to my masculine energy very easily. And so these cards do have a balance of energy. They also have inspiration and attitude. And so wherever your attitude is at play and wherever you are, the cards will be in reverse. So this week in the energy, what we have is I do have that sense of there is some softness here, and to be able to soften our words, soften our thoughts, soften our gaze, soften up our own energy to be present. And so I did get the performer. I got awareness of truth, and I'm going to use 3 cards. And the bottom of the deck is the mystical dreamer, and she's Merlena, and she's in reverse. And if you see my rough looking nails, I'm kind of in a cycle, in a season of my own life right now, and these nails are on the bottom of the list. And that's unusual for me, so you don't usually see that. So the mystical dreamer and Merlena, and what's coming up is, that's kind of being in this world and other worlds. So there's a conflict here of being able to wanting wanting to be a part of something or wanting something to change is what I'm getting. And there is a lot of conflict in choosing sides within your own self. Like I feel like we're bouncing back and forth. So the card that we have come up is the performer, and we have Sasha. And what Sasha is bringing forth to us for the rest of this week, going into the weekend from the 9th until the 12th, I'm that's the number they just give me, 12, is that we have the performer, we have Sasha, and she's like beautifully floating, flying. Her wings are not clipped. She's able to fly. She's able to stay connected. And if you look real close, that this beautiful little piece right here is actually looks like it may be like another bird. It looks like it looks like it could be a swan. And we have to go through a lot of dismantling of our own stories, our own energy, in order to become the swan of our own story, to move beyond having to put on the act, the show. Or if you've ever watched the movie The Black Swan, there is some serious, serious truth that is in that, about performing and about the performance and about feeling and having to be somebody you're not, or trying to take what somebody else has, or living in somebody else's story and somebody else's energies, and about mental illness. And so this week I'm going to go there. I'm going to bring that up. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist. And yes, you are to take this as entertainment, but my life is not entertainment. My life is real, just like yours is real. And so I'm no performer, I'm no entertainer. I'm a real woman, and I'm a real woman who lives a real life prior to ever having a social media business that was live in the world before social media. And that real person is the only person that I have. And so that's what's bringing up for us, is that sense of, we are seeing a lot of emotional and spiritual immaturity. We're seeing a lot of the past stories being kind of master manipulated into stories that are existing today that may not be truth. Is there similarities? Absolutely, there is. And so that keeps coming up. But I'm going to bring this into you. So into your own story, into your own life, into your own existence, and your sense of where and what you are existing within, and taking a good look at making sure that your life is balanced, balancing out your rest time, your work time, the amount of time you provide, that you give yourself on a social media, the amount of time that you're playing the roles, or you're putting the mask on to go out into the world. And I mean the mask and the artificial mask, the personality or the trait mask, the persona that you wear, and all of those that you have to wear, and where you have to go. Where do you need to be? Where do you not need to be? And I'm like, get out of the swamp. And I said that to a friend this morning, like, get out of the swamp. Why are you hanging out in the swamp when you're a light? You can be, we can be a solution and not get into the swamp, and not get swamped down and get lost in everything that is happening. A swan cannot, a swan's wings cannot grow and expand when they're in the murky, muddy, and heavy mud gets on them. It's like, and it's like, yeah, it's, your feather can come out, but if your white feathers are turning into this murky, muddy, dirty feathers, then you're not of purest intention and pure thought and pure energy. And so the performer and Sasha, she is in the upright. So she is an inspiration. She's not performing. She's not playing. She's being very real. And she said, this is not, this is not a game we're playing. We have a lot of emotions at risk here, and there's an emotional state that is being affected, all for games to be played. And so a lot of the political, a lot of that filling their pockets and lining their pockets and all that stuff is real. But you don't have to become a part of that in your world. What do you have to give, and what energy do you have? And then we have the awareness of truth. And she's Corina. Yeah, she might look a lot like me because it's my cards, but she wasn't created or designed for the cards. She was a gift. And what makes her be the awareness of truth and a real name is that I have a real name that was never ever used, and not by me, just by birth, by family. And so, but she's in reverse, and because it's that whole making kind of like excuses, making like some sort of um, justification, and or putting some sort of mask on to not to let yourself be seen as your truest of self. So if you have a healthy life, and you're pretending, or you're making sure that you don't, because you just feel like you need to become a part of whatever is happening out in the world, stop it. Go back to your healthy life, because you don't need to apologize for who you are. The more that you apologize for the fact that you've done the work, that you're putting the work in, is that you are then moving away from your truth, moving away from who you really are, what you have really done for you. And so this up in the upright is, so the attitude is that there's attitudes that's showing because we are so far away from our truth, so far away from your happiness, so far away from being our true self, including the divide, that you're not able to be that. If you want to be a part of that solution, if you want to be a part of your healthy, balanced living, you got to come into the middle. You got to place yourself up on your own throne, place yourself as a priority in your life. You can't heal the whole world, but you can heal you. And that's the truth. And that healing energy is within you. And when you start to step into your own energy, your own truth, your own happiness, it's amazing what will happen. It's amazing what takes place in your life. It's amazing moves, what moves and shifts and bends in that reality that you've created because you've fed yourself enough stories. And then there's a new reality. There's a new energy. There's a new truth. There's a new story. And that it may not be quite as severe or as bad as when you were hanging out in the swamp. And so when you get in that swampy energy, when you get into that negative energy, when you get into that state of depression, and I just listened to something yesterday, and I think it was, who was I just listening to? So I think it was like, and I think it was like a Jim Carrey thing from a few years ago, and he was talking about like the depression, and it's like, and basically for me, what I really resonate to is when I'm not being kind to myself, when I'm not living in my authentic true self, that state of falling from grace truly takes you into that more depressed energy. So sadness and depression is not always the same. And you may be feeling sad right now and you're being told it's depressed. And you're sad because things are the way they are. Is that you no longer can just go be, and you can no longer, be able to just joke. You can no longer, like, we've lost the we've lost some sort of sense of softness in our world, and our world has become hard and cold. And because the world has become hard and cold, it doesn't mean you have to become hard and cold. So if you find yourself becoming hard and cold, if you find yourself, you end up at your doctor and you're saying, I'm like depressed. I'm saying, are you depressed or are you sad? Does anyone really ask you those questions? Are you sad that you're losing, if you're losing out on something, or you feel like something is being taken away from you? Or are you all, is it a state of depression? And what this message was, that from Jim Carrey, what he was speaking of is that depression is saying that you are so exhausted and so depleted that you actually need deep rest. You need deep rest, because we're always playing those roles. And I teach that in More Than Existing. More Than Existing is about the mask. It's about the roles. And if you are just existing, no matter how much money you have, no matter what size of house you live in, no matter how many beautiful flowers you put around, no matter how much you do up your garden, no matter how green your grass is, no matter how much of all of that is, that if you're living in that, if you're living in that place of putting on the role, playing the roles, putting the mask on, faking it till you make it, pretending all of that, creating that your whole material world is going to provide all of that happiness within you, it will crumble. And that sense of, it's like, why am I depressed? Why am I sad? Why am I? Because you're holding on to what you didn't have, and you didn't and you've deceived yourself, you've depleted your energy, you've depleted it trying to be somebody you're not. You've depleted in the identity, the character, the role that you play, even so much as not even knowing sometimes that that's the face that you're putting on for the world. So we're being told right now to be very aware, and very, aware that all of those that are out there, we're in Canada, even campaigning right now, is that you're seeing them be able to play their role. They are seeking and searching something that's going to define the next stage of their lives. So of course, there is an act, there's a role, there's an energy. And of course, we are being divided. Of course, we've always had this. This never wasn't ever there. It wasn't so severe. And that's what you have to look at, to sit in your own truth, your own light. But do you know your own truth? How long have you been living in your isms, your OCDs, your perfectionism, your fight or flight, your defense mechanisms, your know-it-all, your rebel, your fight for the world, all of that? And that's not really your truth, because that has this in performer. And so then we're going to move over into our next card that's going to bring us into the universal light of love, and it's Lumarian. And she's relaxed. She's resting. She's fallen into the state of knowing that her body, her mind, her soul, everything was depleted. But what's wrapped around her? Blue light, blue water, blue light, the blue light energy, pure love, pure energy, pure intention. And in order to get there, we have to recognize that all human energy, all of our human existence, always has some sort of interference in it, some sort of like outside contamination, some sort of outside. You're never going to perfect it. But when you fall into that peace, when you strip it all away, when you take off all of the world, when you stop wearing the weight of the world, when you stop wearing the everything you think you need to be, when you stop wearing all of that and you take it all away, what do you got? You. And it looks like this some days, right? And so there's this truth that is just about peeling away the layers. So the sadness, the depressions, and all of those things have so many names and titles and complexities and so much truth to them that when you're able to recognize that I am deceiving myself, I'm thinking I can do this all on my own, I'm really truly caught up in everything, I need to make a shift and a change. And sometimes it will mean having to get rid of this. Well, having to get rid of this thing and to carry it, not to have it with you all the time, to go out for a walk, leave that home. Leave leave your earbuds at home. Stop putting headphones into your ears to block out the world when you're in nature. Because the healing, what restores and replenishes us, is what Mother Earth has for us. And stop wearing sunglasses every single moment of every single day that you're outside. Let a few minutes of that sun into your eyes. Let the sun into your skin. It's amazing what will happen when it can get to the real you, get to the truth of you, and not be distracted. And so that, it's like you want this world, but you're distracted all the time. How do you heal when you're always distracted? If you're always running from self, if you've made yourself the enemy. The biggest enemy that we have is what we have allowed to happen to our own selves. What we've allowed the world that's all about accumulating their own wealth, about accumulating their celebrity status, their whatever, and we've let it destroy us. We've let it take from the everyday person, the everyday goddess, the everyday God energy, the everyday queen, king of the world, the everyday of us, because we've become so obsessed with wanting to know more about what is going on in the world. In the meantime, your world is crumbling. In the meantime, your personal world is falling apart. There's chaos, there's storms, there's disruption, there's broken foundations, there's broken self, there's broken relationships, there's unhealthy self and unhealthy sense of everything, but you're still so concerned about what's happening in the world. It is time for us to come home to us. It is time for you to come into you. It's time for you to see you, to be able to face your truth, to be able to stop being a part of the world that is performing, because the world is in one big fucking performance right now. And it's larger than us. And there's a lot of things that needs a lot of attention. But when you have things happening in the world that you watch people who were supposed to be emotionally, spiritually mature, F it up and F it up big time, and to then turn it into like some big celebrity show, like it's like we're watching reality TV happen out in our world, and we have actors and actresses that are acting out, and they're playing, they're investing, they're costing us more than we can afford to lose. They are using us as the pawn energy, and we are allowing it, and we have to come home to us. We have to come in. And that's the message of this week of, where are you allowing yourself to be a pawn to this energy? Where are you allowing yourself to get caught up in everything's happening? And where are you really not willing to bend and budge and to be able to look at things from a different angle? The fact that we are comparing to the past, we have to in certain degrees. But if we believe it to be alive again, it's not the same scenario. It's not the same situation. We're in different situations. We are in different times, and we're right here, right now. What can we do? What have we learned from those times? And how can we bring it in? I spoke about that last week, and I'm going to speak about it again, but I'm speaking about mental illness. I'm speaking about our health. I'm speaking about your health. I'm speaking about my health. I'm speaking about the healthiness that we need to return to. We are not a reality show. We are not here to be played. We're not here to be pawns in a show, in an act, in a desire for the whole world for a small amount of people to get what they want or to get their way. They're not doing what is best for us. Nobody is doing what's best for us. Nothing is best for you. What is best for you is inside of here, and trusting that and knowing that. I'm not here to tell you what to do. Nobody should ever tell you what to do and how to live your life. I'm here to give you what I've had to do. And so real, raw, true self is that I've had to step back and I've had to step away. And if me stepping back and stepping away and me not being a puppet on a string and being accessible to give away and keep giving and giving and giving what I don't have to give and giving and giving and giving it for free and not having enough to give to me, if saving me costs me followers, then so be it. Because that's how we have become cold and calculated. That's how we haven't, compassion. Instead of saying, I wonder where Corrie is. Is she okay? I wonder where my neighbor is. Is my neighbor okay? Not, I'm scared of my neighbor and I hate my neighbor because my neighbor has a different view. I haven't seen them in a few weeks. And trust me, I've had a few friends that's been found hanging in spots they shouldn't be. And I don't mean hanging out in a pub. I have found a few friends. I have a few friends who never got the opportunity to be here in these days or didn't make it through some of these days. So I'm telling you that if it comes at a cost of you having to lose 5 hours on here or not knowing what's happening in the world in order to save you today, do it. Stop performing. Stop wearing masks. Stop having to put the persona mask. Stop having to put the face on for the world. And it's okay to not be okay. And it's okay to say I'm not okay, but you're not going to be okay if you keep getting in the swamp. You got to get out of the swamp. You have to look at the world for what it is and look at it as if we are in one big ass fucking reality show and they are using us and we are being used and we are being manipulated in so many ways right now, all for a cause, all for political agendas, and all for the creation of the world that they want to see happen. And that's not my world. My world is built with community, love, pure intention, to be there for each other, to be able to support each other, to know that you can walk to your neighbors and say hello, to know that we are in this together and that we are not here to be divided. Because when you are finding friends hanging in the wrong, hanging in places they shouldn't be hanging, we have a world to look at. When we find that we can become cold and turn the blind eye to people being suffering and being left behind, being canceled out, being rejected, being turned down, we have to look a little bit deeper. And so if you're rejecting you today, if you're deceiving you, if you're depleting you, if you're still trying to run on depletion, stop. Stop today. Rest. Take a good look. Take a good look. Is what you're doing costing you more than you can afford to lose? Do you have it in your bank to keep going? And to just know that Lumarian of blue light energy, this beautiful blue light, is pure love, pure energy, pure truth, pure honesty with ourselves. To live a more virtuous life means we got to peel it all back. And the only thing she is cloaked in is her guardians, her beautiful golden light. She's let her light out and letting her light shine. But she knows where she can let her light shine. She knows that she's here to protect that treasure. She's here to hold it, and that some things in our lives are sacred. And it's okay for us to be sacred. It's okay for us to treat ourselves sacred. And it's okay for us to care for ourselves. Because when you learn how to care for you, you'll learn how to care for the world. And it's not all about the material world. So I hope in some way that this message resonates with you this week. I'm sorry they're deeper. I'm sorry they're, it's like, I'm not apologizing, non-apologetic, because I channel this. And this is the energy that the universe, that I'm given by the divine to hand out, and to do the right things for the right reason it doesn't mean it's always gentle. It means it's what we need. And that's sometimes the most loving thing you do. Think of a grandmother. She says, you're going to sit your ass down there and you're going to eat because you haven't eaten in days. That's a loving thing. You say, I don't want to eat. Well, you are going to sit there. You're going to sit to the table. You're going to have a conversation. You're going to tell me what's wrong. And as painful as it is to tell the truth of what you're holding in, to tell your deep secrets, as painful as it is to the grandmother, I'm sorry, but I did it. Well, that same thing, it may be painful in the moment, in the experience, but it is freeing. And when we free ourselves, When we stop holding ourselves hostage to everything else, we then feel better. And so knowing the sense of what we have that is existing within us that's taking us away from our truth is so important. And much, much love. And I will see you again very soon. And if you're not missing me, I'm just doing records. So I'm recording a lot of videos. I'm recording a lot of work. My Walk Within Me videos are out every single day. You don't have to get off your chair to walk with me. Walk with me means turn it on and listen to it when you have time and when you have enough gas in your tank to be able to actually receive the message. Because when you're full, and no matter how much you keep putting in there, it will all just empty out. It's like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It all just goes out because there is not enough room in. Make space for the good stuff. And when you make space for the good stuff, all the rest has no space inside of you. Much love. Bye-bye.